Everyone, hope they're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis updated commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'll interject my financial opinions as we go through it. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com, where I dive deeper into all these topics, looking for potential investment opportunities. And I really comb through looking for risk-reward opportunities. I know some people were thinking about uranium and the potential upside that uranium has. And there are other sectors that have the same potential upside with maybe a little bit less risk across looking across all of the sectors. So there are other sectors that can perform as well as uranium because I know a lot of people like the returns that uranium can give, but there are other sectors that can, I think, match it or beat it. So let's dive in, let's take a look and see what's going on today. We've got, starting with the dollar, a stronger dollar today. So we did get a little bit of follow through from yesterday's strength into today. So if you were to look at it, we can see that strength. It is kind of like a double bottom here. And we go over this quite a bit on the website. You get a breakout. You generally get a squeeze on top of that and then the move higher. This is on a very short-term time frame. I don't like trading in the short term, but we have the same setups as this going on and are right here located, which is the ideal entry point for an entry point to go long in across a lot of these sectors, especially in energy service companies and stuff like that. But that's on the short term for the DXY. So we are moving on up. We'll see how sustaining this move is. And a lot of this deals with how strong the monetary interest rates and the monetary tightness is behind it. So yields are up. We've got the 2-year where yields are up 0.62%. That's where the dollar is gaining some of its strength. What I see here is we could see further strength. I'm going to remove this. And what I see are these large kind of reversal candlesticks here. And then you get all these small little down days all kind of in it. This here is basically a falling wedge where we could easily start to break to the upside. And if you've seen as many charts as I have, it kind of just sticks out if you continue to look at these charts. So we could get a bounce here to the upside for the DXY and also the 2-year yield. The 10-year is also getting that bounce. There's that falling wedge that we see in the 3-hump consolidation, and we're starting to break to the upside. And the 30-year has the same similar setup. So we could see in the short term, yields go up and maybe the dollar go up with it. TYX TNX ratio, it is slightly lower, and we could dive a little bit to create maybe an inverted kind of head shoulder. It's not really a continuation pattern, but I've seen this pattern go over and over. This is the pattern that I'm talking about, is that one, and I think that is being created here as well. So this pattern there is going to be something very similar to that, and then I think eventually we will break to the upside. Where precious metals outperform in the short term here, short to medium term. That would be something on the lines of weeks, months, and maybe even up to a year and a half of outperformance. So think of it as this outperformance from June 18 all the way to 2020. That would be about a year and a half move, or maybe even about a 2-year move. Something like that could occur coming up. We've got TLT, which is bond prices. Again, that's broken its downtrend. The downtrend line, I don't see it coming up, but there's a downtrend line here. Oh, there it is. And it does look poised for a move higher in bond prices over time. We very well could get a short-term pullback. We've got bigger selling pressure there, kind of into a pattern, and we could come down like that, do a full retest before heading higher. So that's where higher rates, lower bond prices in the very near term. But overall, I think rates will go lower and bond prices will go higher over the medium term. The 2 and 10, we are right at about 1, where the 2-year and the 10-year equal each other. 3.89 and 3.86, we're very close. When this breaks down and goes below 1, that is generally when a potential problem in the market could be felt. We could see some selling pressure or fear or a false flag event, generally when that occurs. Gold's up 16 bucks, so pretty good day for gold, looking pretty good, feeling good. It looks like that will continue higher. Silver's up 2%, and again, I think on the medium term, this will continue higher over time. A little bit of a headwind with stronger dollar, stronger yields, but it's well positioned for a move higher in the medium term. Platinum up $7, still below the crucial breakout point. If it decides to come up here, let me go to the 5 here. There we go. This is the downtrend we're trying to break, and we haven't broken that yet. We've been squeezing into this corner there. And then palladium up 4%. Monster day today for palladium. Big bullish engulfing, and it looks like that could continue higher in the short term for palladium. GDX up, GDXJ up, and SILJ are all up today. And they all look very good to continue higher over the longer term. And again, the tailwinds, what's driving this? Obviously, higher precious metals prices, but what drives precious metals prices higher? It's that safe haven asset. It's the yield curve uninverting, potential slowdown, unemployment rate going up. It's all that type of stuff. XAU to gold ratio, the gold and silver mining companies are outperforming gold itself today, and that is going to continue with the market conditions, and we are coming from a very low level. This is very well positioned for an outperformance for the gold and silver mining companies. Crude oil up 2%, ripping pretty good today. This is a bullish engulfing. We could see this break to the upside here in the short term, and we'll see if there's follow through here. This one has me a little bit on edge because I am long a lot of oil. We're coming into the corner here. It's going to have a decision point here soon. Some of the companies in the exploration production are located on the upside breakout. So I'm kind of curious where oil is going to go here. Let me know what your guys' opinion are in the comment section. ETF nat gas up 0.5%, looking pretty good to continue higher. This is well poised for a move on up. You can see the small selling pressure. That is, I consider that called a bloody nose. Bullish engulfing here. You come up and it's just a flag pattern that continues higher. We've got natural gas in America that looks pretty good to continue higher for nat gas in America, bouncing off support. We've got XOP, yeah, you know me, up 1.6%. Another one that looks real interesting. On a monthly, we've pulled the tail end of this candlestick back within the pattern. On the weekly candlesticks, we still see a little bit of weakness where we really sold off from that. They call it the yen carry trade unwind. I don't know if that's it or not, but and then we've got the bounce higher, and it's not a super convincing bounce, but we'll see where we're going to go here. And OIH is in a similar situation here, sitting below support resistance with a bearish candlestick on the weekly. The daily, we're up today, but this does look like it could be a flag-ish type pattern where it could still fall to the downside. If that occurs and we do get a pullback from slowdown in the market, I'll welcome that and add to my holdings. Newcastle coal futures down a little bit. That does look like a flag type pattern where we might flag it out and then work our way on up again. This does follow TTF nat gas and Henry Hub gas, so that does look well positioned to go higher. Ground Physical Uranium Trust getting some selling pressure today, down 2.3%, getting some selling pressure there. And this really, I think, depends on what the macro does. We get selling pressure across the board on the macro front, it's probably going to drag uranium down with it. But I don't think it's going to be forever. And if we do, it would come back here and do a retest, which would be a really good buying opportunity if it gets that low. Uranium, in terms of futures pricing, it is a little bit in a little bloody drooping whatever at the edge of that wedge there. URA down a little bit, and this does look to me a little bit weak, but it's not got a ton of selling pressure over here. It's holding together, but again, guys, I get a little bit of uncomfortable buying next to these big down moves because a lot of the times it takes a little bit of time to base out. I just don't really, it's not a good entry point because it's it's facing downward. URNM also, again, it's facing, these are all facing downward. So we could spit out to the downside, which is highly possible. Same with URNJ, it's the same setup. The copper ETF or futures, copper futures, looking okay, but again, it looks like it's just ready to move sideways or something on the lines of that. I don't really have a huge opinion where this is located right where it's at. We do have a bearish candlestick there, but it is above a bunch of support right where it's at. COPX just moving sideways. We've got iron ore up 2.88%. That does look like it wants to go up, and that is bouncing off the support level down here. Aluminum down slightly, and again, it looks like it could go further to the downside, and it's going to be subjected to the same macro conditions that everything else is. If that yield curve uninverts and employment goes up, this will go down, along with all the base metals and potentially some of the other commodities. Nickel going down a little bit, down 0.73%. It's probably going to base out down here. Mu up 0.34. This one doesn't look that bad. This looks pretty good. We've got the big consolidation falling wedge that's broken to the upside. And then you get these kind of, it's holding and is broken out. And it looks good to go higher, at least try to go higher. Emerging markets doesn't like stronger dollar, stronger yields. Neither does KRE. So that's just kind of floating sideways, waiting for lower yields to move on up. So consolidation. TAN doesn't like it. That's consolidating sideways. Lithium doesn't necessarily like it. It's up 2%, but it's been consolidating sideways here. REMX is the same thing, consolidating sideways, at least getting a little bit of a buying pressure day to day. And again, we've been stair-stepping lower, and I don't think that has necessarily based out yet. I think it's going to take some time. Baltic Dry Index up 2%. That doesn't look too bad, and it's starting to get above support. That looks a little better. XHB, the home builders, again, it's going to consolidate sideways when you get stronger dollar, stronger yields. Russell 2000 consolidating sideways, right above support. There's that support line going across. We've got the S&P 500, and this is not, if somebody didn't tell me what this is and they said, what do you think of this chart here? I'd say it's squeezing up. It's a rising wedge. You've broken to the downside. This is a retest move, bearish engulfing, ready to go lower. And when that goes lower, if I found out that it was the S&P 500, there could be havoc that could occur in other sectors from this going lower. And if you back way out, to me, this looks like a top there in 2021. This to me looks like a Batman pattern, and then somehow this got pushed higher here in this upper right-hand area. So it's a Batman pattern. There's the Batman, but it got pushed to the upper right-hand side. The Batman with a unicorn. NASDAQ also, it's the same situation, throw over top with the bearish engulfing, blew right through the channel, broken to the downside, doing a retest back to another bearish engulfing. This looks bearish to me. Lower, lower, lower is what I see in the short term. And if that yield curve uninverts, it's just further evidence. An unemployment rate. SMCI up 1%, but this thing's gotten mauled like a bear to the downside. Still looks bearish. NVIDIA down 6%, and I know some people were talking about they beat expectations. That doesn't matter, guys. It depends what the future holds, how tough it is, and what the market was pricing in for a potential beat, how big that beat is. So it got sold off. It's basically buy the rumor, sell the news. So we're down 6% there. Bitcoin still looks a little bit bearish here. We've got this gaining negative momentum there and a pretty weak bounce today. Still looks bearish, momentum to the downside. Same with Ethereum. We've got momentum to the downside with a weak bounce. It generally is a rollover pattern. Think of it as an inverted flag pattern where this breaks to the downside. And again, we're playing with statistics and probabilities, not 100% outcomes. But that's what I've got for today, guys. So give me a thumb up for the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website if you guys are interested. May Day coupon still active. We've got a Saturday question and answer session coming up, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. Bring your questions. I know some people had some questions. I think somebody wanted me to talk about other sectors outside of uranium that may have similar returns. And yeah, definitely go over all that. And I'm very well versed in companies in some of these other sectors like oil, energy service, and stuff like that that look pretty good from a risk reward standpoint. And I also think have huge potential. But that's what I've got for today. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.